Time to do the job. Time to do the job! Behold the jobber of jobbers, Daniel Jobber.
What's up, everybody? This is the Edmonton area's own D-Job Danimal Daniel Jobber, and this is my WWE Extreme Rules review and results show. The show came from Baltimore tonight. Not the greatest show in the world, but some of the things that were predicted, pretty much everything that was predicted actually went as planned. Not predicted by me, but basically the betting odds were spot on with this one, so no real surprises. I also point out that I've already watched my boy Delixman's review and Aaron Riff's No DQ panel review of this event. So if I do plug them, pardon me, because they're part of kind of permeating into my thoughts at this point too. So, but anyways, it was okay. I mean, it was worth the watch. Like I said, not really a lot of surprises. This is going to be a fairly quick review today because it's late and really, I mean, there's more detailed reviews out there. Mine's going to be fairly, for the most part, to the point, kind of giving my thoughts on what it all means and that sort of thing. So anyways, let's get right to the matches. First off, we had a kickoff match show, which was not announced when I did my preview prediction show, and that was Apollo Crews with Titus O'Neil, the Titus brand, as they call it, against Kalisto. And, wow, it was actually one of the better matches of the night. Some people say second, I know Delixman anyway said it was maybe the second best match of the night. They told a pretty good story of Apollo Crews, how he's being kind of corrupted by Titus O'Neil, but wrapped her up really good. I mean, this really was a cruiserweight match, and better than the cruiserweight matches on the event. More of a cruiserweight match, so to speak. And anyways, after a pretty good athletic match between two really great athletes, Kalisto and Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil kind of had a little, I don't know if it was a disagreement or confusion. Apollo Crews saying, "What else do you want me to do?" Because he had just hit his I can't remember what they call that move. He does that flip and he lands on top of them. I had to move my head just a second ago, But anyways, he did that, and he didn't get, and Kalisto kicked out of that too, and he just didn't know what to do. And while he's arguing with Titus O'Neil, up from behind comes Kalisto with the Salino del Sol. I said that right? And gets him with a sudden 3 count. So big victory over Kalisto over the Titus brand, creating more tension between Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. Pretty good story. One of the better kickoff matches you'll see. Better than most of the matches on the show, sadly. Then the show started. We had Dean Ambrose defending the Intercontinental Championship against The Miz in a match where if he got disqualified, he'd lose the title. And they played it up pretty good. They had, early on, Dean Ambrose wanting to get extreme, wanting to use chairs and do all kinds of stuff that would normally get him disqualified, and the ref kept reminding him, you get disqualified, you lose the title. And so he had to keep scaling himself back, and you could see it was starting to pain him. Near the end, The Miz actually tries to get him disqualified and you can clearly see him, even though he said he was trying to say he said he loved you on Raw Talk afterwards. He was clearly saying to Maurice, slap me, slap me, slap me, slap me. And she slaps him, and the ref looks for a second like he might disqualify him, and then he says, no, I'm not going to fall for this. You're out of here. And he kicks Maurice out from ringside. She doesn't end up coming back in, though, and this ends up leading to the finish of the match, because when she comes back in, the ref looks back around and tries to kick her out again, saying, you're not allowed to be here, I already kicked you out. And while that's happening, The Miz pushes Dean Ambrose into the ref, knocks him through the ropes to the ringside area, and the ref gets up and he's all upset, saying, you ran into me. And then Dean Ambrose saying, no, I didn't mean to, he pushed me, and all that kind of stuff. And the ref's walking around the ring like he's ready to disqualify Dean Ambrose, and now he's saying, no, don't do it. all shenanigans. But anyways, well, Dean Ambrose is looking at the ref all distracted, trying to convince him not to disqualify him. The Miz sneaks up behind him, hits the skull-crushing finale, and gets the 3 count and becomes your new Intercontinental Champion. So yeah, the stipulation wasn't the direct reason that The Miz won the title, but it was actually better than that because it led to the distractions that cost Dean Ambrose the title. So, pretty well done. Dean Ambrose was getting stale. It was probably time for him to drop the title anyways, and The Miz deserves to be champion, and they think they told the best story they could with the stipulation they had. Although it's a less extreme stipulation by many standards. Then after that, we had the mixed cruiserweight tag team match between Sasha Banks and Rich Swann versus Noam Dar and Alicia Fox, and it was a match. I was looking forward to the match being a little better, but it was pretty good. There was, of course, a cat fight for a while there between Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox, and of course, obviously, men can only wrestle men, women can only wrestle women. So every time one of the people tagged somebody in, they had to switch. And for a while there, it looked like Alicia Fox or Noam Dar might win, but in the end, it was basically, actually, surprisingly, outside of the ring when Alicia Fox is at ringside, Sasha Banks climbs to the top rope and Noam Dar pushes her out of the way and says, "No, don't do it." And then Sasha Banks actually leaps on top of Noam Dar, which I guess could be a disqualification. You're not supposed to have women interacting with the men, but they didn't. And then right after that, Rich Swann throws Noam Dar back into the ring, hits his Phoenix Splash, and gets the victory for the babyfaces, as I predicted. So far, everything had gone as I had predicted. After that, they had a little surprise segment. They had my drifter, Elias Sampson, and I'm really big on him, coming in the ring and playing his guitar and basically playing an insulting song for the people of Baltimore. And I mean, as Lex Fan was saying, man, that's a pretty cool gimmick. If they were to have him do that in a lot of different major cities, they could really make that a thing, make that his thing, and really draw some heat for the drifter. And then if they could have him back up somewhat in the ring, they could actually have a really good character in Elias Sampson. And of course, I'm all for that because I'm a huge Elias Sampson fan. But anyways, that was that. And after that, we had the Women's Raw Championship being defended on a kendo stick on a pole match between, and I know I made the comments about the pole, and some people wasn't as popular. my little quip on that than for other people. But anyways, between the champion Alexa Bliss and Bayley. And this was maybe one of the sadder matches of the night because, I mean, it started off pretty dull. And then of course they knocked the kendo stick down, and Bayley gets a hold of it. And of course, after giving a promo before the match about how she's not afraid to hit people, how she studied up how to get extreme, I guess. And how she didn't really want to hurt anybody. She would do it if what she had to do. And when she had the kendo stick, she couldn't pull the trigger. She wouldn't use it. And of course, she ended up chasing Alexa Bliss around the ring, back into the ring, and then finally, when she goes to hit Alexa Bliss spears her or something, or basically hits her, knocks the stick out of her hand, and then Alexa Bliss ends up with a kendo stick, gives her a good beating, a good few solid times. Bayley kind of fights back a little bit with a Bayley to belly, but she's just playing up too hurt to get the 3 count, or to go for the pin. And much try as she might to try to get back in the match, the damage from the kendo stick apparently was too much, and Alexa Bliss hits her finisher, some kind of a DDT finisher, I guess, and gets the 3 count and retains the Women's Raw Championship. So, sad match. They really did do nothing for Bayley, and I mean it was okay for Alexa Bliss, but really squashing Bayley in that manner. I just feel bad for Bayley. It's WWE has a bad propensity for destroying baby faces, and of course, they really made the whole time, and especially after this, they really made Bayley a baby. Because when you have a baby face and you cause the person to lose face, all you have left is baby. So, yes, I said it. Anyways, so yeah, it's unfortunate the way they booked Bayley tonight. Not sure where she goes from there, what her future is, but losing matches like that without really any real serious offense at all. So at least not in the stipulation of the match, which was the kendo stick. Pretty sad way to lose. Anyways, then we have the tag team match between the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro in a steel cage. And this would have been a pretty good match, except this is when the point where the rules started to be gray and confusing and maybe not make sense in the way someone might think they are. Maybe they could have done better explaining the rules ahead of time. But anyways, they have the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro have a great match inside the ring. Both of them trying to escape in various times. Oh, and of course there was no pinfalls or submissions in this match. You had to escape the cage, so at the door or the top. It's like in the old days, like in the Hulk Hogan, King Kong Bundy steel cage match from WrestleMania 2, which is the way I like my cage matches. Not a fan of cage matches ending in a pinfall or a submission, or being able to even. And this was the way it was. I mean, both teams tried to escape the cage a few times, beat each other up, but there was no blood or anything too extreme for Extreme Rules, unfortunately. And then at one point, Jeff Hardy actually climbs out of the cage, gets to the floor, but Matt Hardy's unable to get out. And of course, both tag team members have to get out of the cage to the floor. And for a while, Matt Hardy fights just 1-on-2, trying to get out of the cage. He's not going to get there. And so finally, Jeff Hardy climbs back over top of the cage, back into the ring. And apparently, although they never made this clear, as soon as he did that, he was no longer considered having escaped the cage. So basically his escape in the cage was nullified when he climbed back in. And so now they both had to get out of the cage again, which some people thought shouldn't be the case. It should be that now just Matt Hardy has to escape. But no, they both had to escape yet again. And they battle it out, and finally at the end they're both trying to escape the cage. Cesaro and Sheamus are trying to climb the cage together, and they're going up pretty fast, and Matt Hardy tries to go through the door, and he manages to get through the door with his feet on the floor, and he's trying to pull Jeff Hardy out of the cage. But as he's trying to pull his brother Jeff out of the cage, Sheamus and Cesaro's feet hit the floor, and you have new Raw Tag Team Champions, as predicted. Cesaro and Sheamus winning the title from the Hardys. I don't know, I thought the Hardys should have retained, so I really hope they're going somewhere with this. And then I thought maybe because Jeff Hardy was the reason, maybe they lost. Oh, I didn't really say Jeff Hardy did a backwards vault up the top of the cage, and this kind of led to him being unable to get up, making him unconscious, I guess. Why he would do a somersault backwards up the top of the cage onto your opponent instead of jumping forwards, I have no idea, but that's Jeff Hardy for you. But anyways, yeah, so I thought maybe Matt Hardy might turn on Jeff, but no, they just take their medicine, and Cesaro and Sheamus escape as your new Raw Tag Team Champions, and I guess we'll see what happens going forward. Maybe there'll be a Hardy separation in the near future, and of course there's probably going to be a rematch before that. Maybe they'll have their falling out at the rematch, I don't know. But anyways, yes, new Raw Tag Team Champions to go with your new Intercontinental Champion. And then of course the Cruiserweight Championship, which was predicted that there would be no title change. Although I predicted that the way they built up Austin Aries, that he would win in epic struggle, with his injured knee and body, and that he would become the new Cruiserweight Champion because, it just seemed that the way the story was going. But no, they battle it out normal. Oh, and I also want to say that's another one of the confusing matches because the ref was actually attempting to count out people in a submission match, and then later on count the break of the submission moves. If it's a submission match, the only way you should be able to win at all is a submission. So why would you have countouts and disqualifications being counted at all? They don't count, so why would you count? It's like the ref either believe they counted or they're trying to pull some kind of a thing where, yeah, they just called the match a no pinfall match. If it's submissions and countouts and disqualifications, they should just called it a no pinfall match. But a submission match usually means only submissions in the match, so. And that's the way they had built it up, too. I really was strange why the ref was counting these things. But anyway, that's a little bit of an aside there. Everybody made a comment about that. Aaron Rift's team and Deluxe Man, they're all commenting about how wonky this is. Terrible refereeing, if you will. As funny as it is to say. Even though the refereeing is not real sports refereeing. The refs were terrible tonight. Go figure. But anyways, Not a bad match, but really it wasn't a cruiserweight match. Very much like the other match, the cruiserweight tag team match. They're just not really good cruiserweight matches. There's very little cruiserweight maneuvers. The match between Apollo Crews and Kalisto was a better cruiserweight match. So maybe they're trying to ruin 205 Live with Drew Gulak's no high flying cruiserweight crusade. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, it wasn't a lot of it. Austin Aries, for a while, they were selling up his injury. They're all back and forth, lots of submission holds. But after a while, they started to almost ignore Austin Aries' injury, which made it start to wonder maybe it's not going to be this epic struggle, or maybe Vince was looking for some kind of reaction from the crowd towards Austin Aries, and when he didn't get it, he said, you know what, we're going with Neville again. I don't know. It just seems strange. For a while there, they're selling up Austin Aries' injury, and then they're not. So, but anyways, the match ends really kind of disappointing for any Austin Aries fans. Austin Aries almost gets the win with his last chancery several times, but anyways, then with Neville outside of the ring, Austin Aries goes for his heat-seeking missile, and the camera angle really made it look silly, but the same way, basically Neville ducked down right underneath the ring almost, or to the base of the ring, and Austin Aries looked like he was jumping and diving at nobody, like totally into the open, right towards the barricade, nowhere near Neville, so it was like nobody home. That's right, I can almost hear on the video game 2K16, 2K17, I can almost hear Jerry Lawler saying, nobody home? Nobody in the neighborhood or the zip code or something. Because, yeah, he's just totally nowhere near Neville, and he just flies into the barricade, and just poorly done, unfortunately. It looked silly. And it was what it was. Neville throws Austin Aries back into the ring, hits his red arrow, and goes right into his finisher, the Rings of Saturn, and Austin Aries, finally too badly beaten, too badly damaged, is forced to tap out, and Neville retains the Cruiserweight Championship, which I was happy about. Just, I don't know, maybe the match could have been a little better, and it really wasn't much of a Cruiserweight match. Didn't really show off the Cruiserweights all that well, so neither of the matches were really good spectacles for the Cruiserweight division tonight. But the right man won, I feel, and Austin Aries afterwards had tweeted that it's time for thinking about his career. I don't know, I think, my opinion is this match should lead to a fatal 4-way or even 5-way, but particularly, for sure, a 4-way at Great Balls of Fire with Neville, Austin Aries, another chance, but only because you have TJP and Akira Tozawa in the match as well, and have this amazing fatal 4-way. And if you want Austin Aries to win the match and win the title, great, but really that match, all four of them together, I think would make a much better match for more fitting of Great Balls of Fire. So that's what I'd like to see them go next. Have a multiple number one contendership, so to speak, or confusion around the number one contender, and have a multi-man match. Or even throw Kalisto into it. If Kalisto gained any momentum tonight and they decide they want to use him to build up the cruiserweights, maybe throw Kalisto in it. But I don't know. I don't think you need Kalisto. I think those four. Maybe you can add Jack Gallagher and make it a fatal 5-way. I don't know. But anyway, I think they should have a multi-man match of some sort with Neville for the championship at Great Balls of Fire. And then where they go in for SummerSlam, I don't know. That's where I think they should go with the Cruiserweight division title-wise. Anyways, finally, the fatal 5-way for the number one contendership for Brock Lesnar's title at Great Balls of Fire. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe, and Finn Balor. I predicted Finn Balor. That was a good match. Lots of excitement. Maybe a little less extreme than you'd hope for a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules. Near the end of the match, you had Roman Reigns, as you would expect, getting pretty tough, cleaning house. And I remember if he hits the spear, he goes for the spear. And I think someone broke it up, or Finn Balor reversed it somehow. But then Finn Balor actually gets Roman Reigns on the mat, hits his coup de grace, and when he's about to go for the pin, in comes Samoa Joe, grabs Finn Balor from behind while Roman Reigns is reeling on the ground, and of course Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt at this point are no longer anywhere to be found. Puts him into his coquina clutch, rolls him on the mat while Roman Reigns is totally out of it, and 10, 15 seconds later, the ref lifts Finn Balor's hand, it drops, the ref says Finn Balor's out, and Samoa Joe, as predicted by the odds bettors, is the number one contender for the Universal title, and he will be facing Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. Some people are happy about this. I mean, it is kind of a dream match. It may actually save Great Balls of Fire, or make it a pay-per-view worth watching. Brock Lesnar definitely will, although I still think it's a travesty that he, one, isn't facing Finn Balor as of this point, to give Finn Balor a chance to reclaim the title he never lost, and two, that he was able to have 3 months off without a title defense. Sick. Absolutely sick to me. But yes, they might save Great Balls of Fire at this match. Personally, I think it's too soon. We know Brock Lesnar's not losing the title at Great Balls of Fire. Let's just be clear. Brock Lesnar is not dropping the title. He should, but he won't. He won't be dropping the title till minimum SummerSlam, and even then, probably not till WrestleMania to Roman Reigns or something. So, yeah, it's like wasting in my opinion, maybe wasting Samoa Joe's shot against Brock Lesnar before it's time. I think it's a match that is out of time. It's too soon. Samoa Joe, I'm sure he'll feed off it. It'll be a stepping stone, but I think they could have done a lot better with Great Balls of Fire, in my opinion, to make the match more meaningful. But maybe the fact that it's Great Balls of Fire, they had to make drama and tension and excitement between two big guys versus something that makes sense. But it is what it is. Samoa Joe is on his way to Great Balls of Fire to face Brock Lesnar. And so that was pretty much it. We had, to recap, Kalisto over Apollo Crews in the kickoff show match. We had The Miz beating Dean Ambrose by pinfall to win the Intercontinental Championship. We had Sasha Banks and Rich Swann defeating Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. We had Alexa Bliss retaining the Women's Raw Championship in a candlestick on a pole match against Bayley. We had Sheamus and Cesaro winning the Raw Tag Team Championships from the Hardy Boys in the steel cage. We had Neville retaining the Cruiserweight Championship by forcing Austin Aries to tap out. And we had Samoa Joe winning the Fatal 5-Way to become the new #1 contender for the Universal title. And that was pretty much it. I give the overall show D+. I just can't give it any more. There's too much crap. Not enough good stuff. It was a D+. The wrestling was okay. It wasn't great. There's very, very few matches that were at all epic or worth watching. Maybe even a second time. So yeah, D+. That's the best I can give it. Anyways, once again, this is Danimal Daniel Jobber, the D-Job, from the Edmonton area. You can follow me on Twitter at Daniel Jobber, capital D, capital J. You can follow me on Instagram under Danimal Daniel Jobber, all lowercase. Of course, I have my YouTube channel this video is up on under Daniel Jobber. Of course, visit my awesome website, DanimalDanielJobber.ca, where you can see, which I just released today, my new edition of the Cruiserweight Power Rankings. I released them before the title match, of course, for the Cruiserweight, so that they weren't going to be influenced by that. But yes, that's up on my website, as well as all my fun stuff. And, of course, I have Discuss at the bottom of a number of pages. Leave me a comment. Let me know you were there. Let me know what you think. Please, I like to interact with fans. That's why we do this. And, of course, if you really want to send me an email, you can still do that to DanimalDanielJobber@gmail.com. Of course, I'm proudly part of the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network. And you can follow us on Twitter under @EdmontonSPN, capital E in Edmonton, capital S, capital P, capital N. Of course, follow our director, Mike the Ref, on Instagram under Mike the Ref EDM. And make sure you go to whatamaneuver.net/collection/Edmonton-SPN and buy official merchandise from the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network, and the official Danimal Daniel Jobber merchandise now for sale. I had a chance to show you in my preview prediction show, so if you want to see the apparel that you can get with my logo on it, my picture, go to my preview and prediction show for this event, and you can see a number of items that are for sale. Sometimes you want to support me, that's the best way to do it, is to buy official Danimal Daniel Jobber merchandise from whatamaneuver.net. And I guess that's all I'm going to say for this week. Coming up in a few days will be my next edition of the Jobbing Out with Daniel Jobber 205 Live and WWE Cruiserweight Report. It'll be episode 6 podcast-wise this time. So make sure you check out that when it comes out on the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed the pay-per-view, and I bid you all good night. Jobber out!
Time to do the job. Time to do the job! Behold the jobber of jobbers. Daniel Jobber.